The Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors in Game 1. The NBA Conference Semifinals presented by Wells Fargo. First time these teams have met in the postseason. The Raptors, the defending champs. Boston went to the conference finals in 2 of the last 3 years. Each team coming off a first-round sweep.
This is an interesting player to me in this series because he scored it well versus Toronto in the regular season, as you can see there. But far more interesting is because Gordon Hayward is out and not starting, his defensive matchup switches in all likelihood from one of the small guards to one of the forwards. So let's see where they place him defensively, and obviously they switch an awful lot, so it's not critical. But that interesting early matchup is one thing I'm looking at, Dave.
Starting lineups brought to you by Modelo. Joining Brown in the starting 5, Kemba Walker. They were very careful with him in the seeding games because of a left knee problem, but he's good to go. You mentioned the injury to Hayward, so Marcus Smart will again get the start. Tatum, an all-star, and Daniel Tice, a very important player in the middle. As for Toronto, Kyle Lowry is good to go. No minutes restriction on him after an injured ankle. In Game 4 a week ago, their win over Brooklyn. You had the all-star Siakam, the veteran Gasol, Anunoby, and a guy that's played like an all-star here in the bubble, Fred VanVleet. He's been that good on both ends of the floor. It's a smaller lineup that Boston employs with him at the 5. It's working so far here in Game 1.
NBA Conference Semifinals on ESPN is presented by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is helping families in need by turning key locations into drive-up food banks. Visit wellsfargo.com/foodbank to learn more.
Using the challenge this early in hopes that they'll get that foul back. But it's 25-13 right now, Boston in front. So finally, Toronto gets into a little bit of a groove at the end of the quarter, but the Celtics had way too many weapons to handle in that opening quarter. Tatum actually wasn't one of them. That was his only basket. His team, though, is up 16 after 1.
The only thing that matters what you're gonna do when you get up there, get up now.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. When the game is on the line, what moves you? Goodyear, more driven.
So the Raptors were down 19. Nick Nurse makes a defensive adjustment, and watch. You're in a little bit of a zone. Those 2 players at the top come out a little bit high. I mean, the pass to the free throw line is appropriate. You're going to play a little high-low. Tice has had a couple of miscues. The turnover off his up fake and then the failure to make the catch. This is a second one. Okay, you want to give me that zone look, I can still screen you at the top, but a mishandle, and all of a sudden the game feels different for Toronto, doesn't it? And I have to give a ton of credit to this guy. Defense doesn't react in time, and Kemba says, let me put this 3 on your head.
A little cardiac Kemba at the buzzer as the Celtics lead it by 17 at halftime over the Raptors in Game 1. Welcome back to the NBA Conference Semifinals presented by Wells Fargo. Marcus Smart feeling good. You can understand why. Had a great first half on both ends of the floor as the Celtics lead by 17 here in Game 1 as we get ready to start the third quarter. Back with Doris Burke, Malik Andrews on the sideline. I'm Dave Pash. The defense really was the story for Boston, Doris, in that first half, and that's our Smooth Moves brought to you by Gillette.
They've been forced all year to get themselves out of bad matchups or simply make it tough when they've been outsized. So Marcus Smart's going to find himself on the post. He's going to say, okay, Pascal, I'm going to make you play through my chest. If you score, you're going to score over me. He tries to go through him. That's not good enough. Tatum, if this is a big, normally you see Ibaka, that spin move gets him past. Tatum says, no, sir. And then this is your advantage, right? Now you've got a big in Pascal Siakam dealing with Marcus Smart off the dribble drive, so take advantage where you can.
17-point Boston lead. Today's first half stats brought to you by Kia. Toronto 29% shooting, 5 of 24 from 3. 9 turnovers by Boston, otherwise the lead might be bigger for the Celtics.
Well, the starters for the Celtics, 48 points on 43% shooting. The Raptors starters, 22 points on 27% shooting. In this first half.
Meet in the series, but right now it's Boston's offense shredding that Toronto defense with a game-high 22-point lead. Tonight, ABC will celebrate the legacy of Chadwick Boseman with a special presentation of Marvel Studios' Black Panther with no commercial interruptions, followed by the ABC News special Chadwick Boseman, A Tribute for a King. It all starts tonight, 8 Eastern on ABC. Check in with Malika Andrews for more on Chadwick.
Well, Dave, before the game, the NBA held a moment of silence for Boseman, Lute Olson, and Trailblazers great Cliff Robinson. But please allow me in this moment where Black power and Black struggle has been on full display to contextualize what Boseman meant. He was a real-life superhero. In pop culture in Hollywood, superheroes are overwhelming.
Advantage for Boston here in Game 1 of this Eastern Conference semifinal series. Marcus Smart picking the pocket of Van Vliet. They get it ahead to Williams for the show. The upcoming playoff schedule brought to you by Hulu. Up next on ESPN, Game 6, Clippers, Dallas, with LA looking to close that series out. Utah looking to do the same tonight on TNT against Denver. For more on these games, go to NBA.com or visit the NBA app. Brad Stevens, Boston Celtics head coach, mic'd up.
Exceptional in their baseline, inline execution.
We got a timeout here in Lake Buena Vista. The Celtics have been in command throughout.
NBA Conference Semifinals on ESPN is presented by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is helping families in need by turning key locations into drive-up food banks. Visit wellsfargo.com/foodbank to learn more.
A lot of people think the Boston Celtics are a contender to win the championship in 2020. And they've looked that good here today in Game 1. And win it 112-94 to take Game 1 in the opening game of Round 2 of the 2020 NBA playoffs. We've got more playoff action. Game 6, Round 1, Clippers Mavericks, up next here on ESPN. For Doris Burke, Malika Andrews, our entire crew, I'm Dave Pash. After these messages, we get you over to Clips Mavs. Stay with us. Boston takes Game 1.